Happy Labor Day. Hope everybody's enjoying the day and I guess officially the last day of summer or whatever it may be called. But I'd like to start off, thank you to all the fans in Pirate Nation who showed up on last Thursday up in Raleigh. Just that support you guys showed shows how special this place is, how special East Carolina is, and our players certainly felt that. And what a great atmosphere for a football game. Obviously didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but I think it's hard to go on the road as an underdog and spot a team 17 points and finish the way you did, or turn out the way you wanted to turn out. Obviously, we battled back. It shows a little bit of resiliency by our players. This is the way they fought back and hung in there. And then the last drive of the game, you have a chance to either go tie it up or go for the win there at the end of the game. So it shows a lot about our guys, who they are. But at the end of the day, we're not about moral victories. Nobody around here is, and that's who we're about. And our players would love to line back up and do that again. But we don't get the opportunity, so we can't keep our eyes out the rear view. We got to keep them out the windshield, but at the same time, we got to learn from our mistakes. And really, our mistakes were just fundamental technique stuff. I mean, we got to get off to a better start, and some of that's just about our feet. And I think on both sides of the football. On defensively, it's about tackling and getting our feet to contact, stepping on a ball carrier's toes. If I can step on your toes, I can probably tackle you. It's the same thing. The perimeter blocking, we get shut our feet down too soon. We got to get our feet to contact and get those crack blocks done, get those arc blocks, because as soon as you miss a crack, the perimeter runs dead right away. And then interiorly, the same thing. So a lot of little things to clean up. And I just talked to our guys after practice this morning about, death by 1,000 paper cuts. And it wasn't really any, we had the one big play defensively, gave up the one explosive. But, it wasn't any big play, but a lot of little things that we got to clean up on both sides of the football. Defensively, it's communication. It's to get 11 sets of cleats in the ground and make sure we're ready to play the game and ready to play it the right way. And then offensively, it's taking our feet to contact and getting on those guys. And we love to throw the ball down the field, but it takes everybody. It takes 11th. I think Brock said it best about doing his 1-11th. Well, it's easy for, Brock, he got to run the right route. Caden's got to put it on time. The O-line's got to protect. But all those things have to be in sync. If we stutter step out wide, or if we don't communicate up front, or if the back doesn't stay in protection, all those things can have a breakdown and turn what could be a good play or an explosive play into a bad play. And it's the same thing defensively. But I thought, being down 17-0, the kids never hung their head, and they kept fighting back. I think from that point on, we outscored them 17-7, but it's still short there. And defensively in the second half, thought we did some better things. Got off the field on third down, and that was really the difference between the first half and the second half. First half, we put ourselves behind the sticks, put ourselves behind the chains, and we have long third downs. And defensively, we couldn't make the third down play. In the second half, we helped flip that around. So that was kind of the difference in the second half there. And then I think 5.5 minutes, 5:41 on the clock to go in the game. The offense gets the ball, goes on a drive, and gets the ball inside the 10-yard line. Gets stopped on fourth down, but getting ready to hopefully punch that thing in. And you obviously got to keep moving the ball and go score there to finish the game and try to win it the right way. But it's a game that you certainly can look back and learn from, and we certainly got to. I think if you win that game, and you never want to try to pull a positive from a loss, you win that game, some of those mistakes may get covered up. Anytime you have a loss, those things get kind of magnified, and your players are really locked in and paying attention this morning. Thought we did have some individual performances that were pretty good. Obviously, Caden took care of the football. That was the big thing. That was a big goal going into the season, is just take care of the football, do a better job with that for ball carriers and Caden. Didn't have any turnovers the other night. I think he has set a career high and passing yardage. I think Brock Spalding, showed up and did a really good job. I've been trying to get Brock to move to the defensive side of the ball forever, but I'm glad he hasn't. And still playing receiver for us and did some big things there, and shows why he's an older kid. I thought on the defensive side of the ball, some of the older guys showed up as well. Tegan Wilt, Jamali Riddle, and both had solid nights at safety. So that's kind of, wrapping up last week. That's kind of where we're at. We had the extra day this weekend. We came in camp July 27th, so you come in camp a couple days early, so you get a little extra break over the weekend here, and it's back to work for us today. It's back to work on our next opponent. A chance to be back in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium to face an opponent, and our guys are fired up to play in front of our home crowd and watch Pirate Nation bring that same energy they brought last Thursday, and they bring every time in Dowdy-Ficklin. Thank you to all the folks that bought season tickets out there. I think we surpassed the number from last year. I think it's over 15,200 and something. So thank you all of those folks that did that, and I can't wait to see you in the stadium and going at it. Campbell's a good football team. They were up on a ranked opponent Friday night in the fourth quarter. They played on Friday, so they got 8 days before the game. Coach Braxton Harris is a second year up there coaching. He's his third stop as a head coach. Done a really good job. Have a lot of ECU connections to Campbell. Dale Steele just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Dale obviously was the head coach up there, has been on our staff here at ECU Pirates, and then a couple of players up there as well. Starting guard for them is Cameron Durant, who was started his career here, transferred there in the spring, and then also a guy that rotates at defensive line. Logan Wright is a guy that rotates in there that started his career here and is transferred up there as well. They also have their best receiver, probably Randall King, was our ECU commit early on. We had committed him as a corner. He wanted to play receiver, so he ended up moving on and is up there. So excited about the opportunity. They're a well-coached football team, and like I told our players, and we said this last week, it's really about how we approach the week, how we do things, and it's going to be like that every week. Doesn't matter if it's week 1, week 2, week 3. We got to go practice with purpose, intent, and urgency. And if I just didn't think we had enough urgency the other night, and that was the big focus this morning, is making sure we have urgency as we go through practice and we get ready to roll for Saturday. So this time we'll open it up for questions.
I was just curious, as you look back at the end of the game, you guys were up tempo, moving pretty good. The balance there of trying to slow it down, not leave them any time, and also scoring there.
Yeah, there's a fine balance, and that's probably our best drive of the game. I think we had 12 plays on that drive. I think that was probably the cleanest drive we had all night. There's some drives throughout the game that we got to clean up, and we get the ball moving. We had a penalty set us back, and then you're behind the sticks again. That drive, we had the ball moving, down the field pretty good. And you got to manage the clock a little bit. I think the biggest chunk of clock we let go off, it got under 2:40. You can run it all the way down the 2-minute warning and get to 2-minute warning, which you obviously, the main goal is go score. Go put it in the box and either tie it up or give yourself a chance to win. Number 2 is after you score, make sure you don't leave the other team enough time to have a 2-minute drill. And really in college football, about a minute 40, a minute 30 is enough time to go 75 yards and put it in the end zone or set up for a field goal, obviously. So that's the biggest chunk right before the 2-minute warning there. We took a timeout, I believe, right on 4th down. We tried to hard count them, draw them off sides. If we would have picked up the fourth down conversion there, I think we're at the 9-yard line with about a minute 15 to go and 2 timeouts. So I feel like we have plenty of time to convert. You really got 4 downs from there. You got two timeouts, so you can run the football, throw the football into the end zone, whatever you need to do there to be successful. But it's a fine line of, if it works out, Great decision, great situation. If it doesn't, you always second guess yourself as coaches, players, all of us. But the main thing is we got to, execute on the fine little things and details of those things.
Coach, I know you talked about the money down a lot on defense, on offense. I think it was 6 or 7 to 20 on 3rd and 4th down Thursday night. What do you feel like just after watching one of the biggest issues on 3rd and 4th down on that side of the ball?
Yeah, manageable 3rd downs. I think in the bowl game we were 14 of 16, and it's just the opposite in this game. And it's really because I think you got 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 33. Those 3rd downs are hard 3rd downs to manage. There's not a whole lot of 3rd and 20 play calls out there. Those are tough ones. You're just trying to get a chunk of it, and hopefully you can squirt through. Somebody miss a tackle and get the first down, or just get out of your territory and gain some field position there. So that was the biggest difference offensively, and defensively too. We let them have manageable 3rd downs. They're 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. Those are manageable 3rd downs. Those are easy, situations for those guys to convert, and vice versa for us. So we got to do a better job on 1st and 2nd down. And that's what it comes down. Obviously, the 3rd down stands out because that's what's in the stats, and everybody sees that, and everybody focuses on that. But it's really staying on schedule 1st down, 2nd down. You miss a crack on a 1st down, or a linebacker runs through, and you have to reach out and don't move your feet, and you grab him and get a hold, and it's 1st and 20. It's hard to get back on schedule. So we got to do a better job cleaning those things up. And I told our players this morning, we don't like it. The sun still came up, but we got to own it. And that starts with all of it, starts with me. We got to own our mistakes, and we got to get them fixed and have urgency to do that.
Coach, as a follow-up on that, the running game. What did you see on tape as far as the running game and some of the issues there?
Yeah, exactly what I just hit, really, Brian, is, it's little things. Like there were some runs there that, hey, if we just move our feet, do a better job on this or do a better job on that, they're there. We gotta pop those in there too. And, we got to connect on some of those deep passes, and that'll help that run game as well. So it all goes together. If you're not connecting on the deep ball, why does the defense have to respect it? If you're struggling to protect, you don't have to worry about the deep ball either. If you can't run the football, it doesn't set it up. So all goes hand in hand, all goes together, and it takes all 11 guys to get it done. So it's not just, hey, the O-line or not just the running back. It's the perimeter blocking. It's making better reads. Some of those should have been pulls and hitting them up inside. So we got to do a better job in all those categories. And, I think I heard Coach Saban talking about this in the Alabama-Florida State game. It's not an excuse. It just is what it is. Like, you're going into game one. You never know what you get in game one. But he was talking about Alabama facing Florida State. Florida State had 2 new coordinators, a new OC and a new DC. You think you know what you're getting, but you don't know exactly what you're getting. And then you have to go throughout the game and adjust. And I thought we certainly did adjust through the game and got better in the second half. So, again, week 2 becomes easier because you kind of see your opponent on film and know exactly kind of what their MO is, how they want to attack things, and how you want to attack them, and it becomes a little easier. Game 1 can be a little tougher sometimes.
When it does come to those first quarter, second quarter,
Yep.
what was the big thing that surprised you about NC State that you couldn't really prepare for?
The things I would say is just like, it's not what surprises you. It's like you prepare for so much, such a broad spectrum of things that could happen. What they might do defensively, what they might do offensively. And I think like the momentum, they go down the field, they kick a field goal, and you think, okay, we kind of took some. But if we get a stop there, maybe in the back of their minds, it's going, oh man, this is the same as the bowl game. And then we get the ball, we go 3 and out. Well, the momentum's all in their favor, in their home stadium, all those things. And you just can't let that happen, especially on the road. You got to get off to a great start on the road. You watch it all weekend long. It didn't matter what underdog went into what stadium, who went into what stadium. If the visiting team got off to a tough start, it was a long day for them, and certainly was for us. And we got to do a better job of starting fast. And I'll change some things up in practice this week to make sure we focus on that.
Coach, with you guys being back home, I mean, you just mentioned it earlier, but being here in Dowdy, I know the guys are excited about
Yeah.
that. What energy are you putting for the team right now as far as that concerned?
It's really back to work. They're obviously excited about being at home, being in front of Pirate Nation, and being in front of our crowd. But they want to make sure they put a product out there that they can pull that energy out of the crowd. If we go make the same mistakes we did last week, there's not a whole lot of energy out there for that, and not a whole lot of patience for that from all of us. And they want to make sure they're playing the way we're supposed to play. And we talked about it before. Dowdy-Ficklen's a special place, but what makes it extra special is the way we play in there, and that's playing the Pirate way with great effort, great energy, and clean. And we got to focus on that and doing those things. So, as great as opportunity is on Saturday, we got to focus every single day of the week and getting ready for that day.
Coach, in terms of mindset and just morale, what have you seen in response from your team leaders in the locker room, team meetings, and just practice today on how they've responded from the loss?
Yeah, probably a lot of things I can't say in here, but it's just they're older guys. They know where their mistakes are. They own it. They know we got to get it corrected. They know we got to move forward. And the good thing about being in the season, it's not a 1-week season. It's 13 weeks, 11 more games, 11 more opportunities, but you can't let one opportunity slide by. You got to go attack it and go get after it and be ready to ride and those things. So, you got to. Hey, learn from the event, but you got to move on to the next opponent. And our guys are ready to do that, and certainly did that in practice this morning.
So Raheem Craig go down and come back in the game, but just how's the team health-wise?
Yeah. Raheem almost made a great play. I think he tipped the ball up in the air, almost made a great play on it. Would have been a nice pick for him. Gave us great field position down there. That'd been a really nice setup there, and I think it was the third quarter. But health-wise, all in all, pretty good. I got a few bumps and bruises here like you would in a normal week. I think we played 73 snaps on offense and 76 on defense. So, you go into that many snaps, you're going to have some bumps and bruises and some guys going out there the first time. And I didn't think, late in the game, we had some guys that played almost all those snaps. And they look a little tired, but for the most part, our team did not look gassed. We still looked like we had good energy, playing with good effort, playing physicality, and those things. So I thought we're in good shape. And sometimes it takes a game or two before what does it feel like to go play 60 snaps, 70 snaps? Offensively, I think we played 7 offensive linemen, so they help to keep us fresh. We got Jason Tarpey back this week, who will rotate in there as well. We'll probably play 8 offensive linemen, just trying to keep those guys fresh and see what our best combination is. We got to keep figuring that thing out. I played 3 different running backs, 2 different tight ends, I think about 6 different receivers, so about 17, 18 guys on the offensive side of the ball. And defensively, you're looking at 23, 24 guys. By the time we put the Predator third down dime package in there and getting different guys on the field. So, that helps keep you fresh into the fourth quarter. It helps keep you injury-free. And because obviously if you go play 60, 70 snaps, the likelihood of injury or likelihood of you making through a season is not very high. But if we can kind of rotate those guys around, it helps us be strong in the fourth quarter and go win football games.
Coach, prior to his injury last season, Brock played about an even amount of snaps in the slot. As he get outside, he continues to earn more playing time. Do you guys have a position you feel more comfortable with him at, or is he an all-around guy?
I like that you use the word earn. I think everything we do is earn. And then Brock is certainly earning the right to be on the field and has always done that. And, you're going to see him line up in the slot. You're going to see him line up out wide. He can handle both those. He's an older guy. And can certainly make a difference at both those positions, and I think gives us good depth at both positions as well. So in the slot, when you talk about Brock and Quiz Petaway and Peyton Mangrum, you feel good about that. When you talk about out wide, I thought Tyler Johnson, J.C. Connor had the big play down the sideline, and it was a play where they're trying to make a substitution package. They'd already called timeout once. It's the second time it happened. They didn't get their package off the field. They didn't burn the timeout. So it was automatically a penalty. So a free play for us. Caton hits JC, Javante Connor over the middle, breaks a tackle. But what you may not see on that play is Tyler Johnson. Tyler Johnson sprinting down the field to make 2 different blocks on defenders. And you see Quez Petaway, who I think he hit 21 miles an hour in the game the other day, passing defenders up. If we will play with that type of effort, we'll look up later in the season. We'll get better and better every week, and we'll be happy about where we're at. We just got to keep, focusing on that type of effort and make sure we're encouraging that, make sure it was 11 guys with playing with the same effort.
I was just going to ask, going off that play, y'all get sacked. Obviously, you recognize that they're subbing. Just that, y'all had to practice that quite a bit to get back on the ball. Just how much prep goes into taking advantage of that situation?
Yeah, you just can never have your head down about the last play. You're an underdog going in there. Their quarterback makes more than our whole roster makes. You can't get your head down about those things. It's the same thing. You have a sack. You can't get your head down about the sack. You got to be ready to go attack the next play. You got to go be ready to take it on. And the guys did a great job with that. It's something that we, Coach Baker and the offense have prepared the offensive players for that, and I thought they did a good job executing it. Tried to execute it earlier in the game, and stated use the timeout to kind of get out of it, and then caught them again. So, and that'll help you down the road too. Now, if people see that on film, they say, well, we can't get our third down package on the field, so we're going to have to play with base personnel, which gives us the advantage. And now we have our base personnel and our receivers matched up against their base personnel, and they're not putting an extra pass rusher in or an extra DB in, and we can go pick on a linebacker or pick on a safety or so.
Any other questions? Last question? Coach, this is the second year being held in communication.
Yeah.
Still doing some signaling on defense, but you also played 2 different Mike linebackers throughout the game. How do you balance kind of what's signal as opposed to what's in the earpiece with 2 different guys wearing that green nut?
Yeah, we got one on our punter now. I guess that's the only guy I'm allowed to talk to now is the punter. So I tell him to fake it or not to fake it. But yeah, so obviously on offense, you got one in the quarterback's helmets. When Mike Wright goes out there and he's out there with Caton, Mike's got a different helmet, so we're just in communication with Caton at that time. And then really at linebackers, DJ Johnson and Damian Wilson Day, and those 2 guys kind of in and out for each other, so they're on the field. And Coach Aldridge does all the communicating to them, so which is a little bit different for me because I keep wanting to mash the button and tell them, hey, do this, do that. But he did a great job just kind of communicating with those guys. And you got to be careful. You don't give them too much information, but you give them enough to be successful and kind of let them ride from there. It's kind of like we talked last year. Don't be talking in their backswing. So I thought we did a good job with that. And some of those things will continue to progress as well. The communication, some of the signals from the sideline and those things. That gets cleaned up as the season goes on as well. So excited about the opportunity in Dowdy. I appreciate you guys again. And, it's week 2 as we learn anything from last season. It's a long season, and it's about the next week and about the next opportunity and going and attacking it. And we're certainly ready for it. We're certainly ready to see our home crowd and protect Dowdy Ficklin this fall. So thank you, guys. Have a great week.